banning away Janna very quickly against Elements.
Okay, against Nif, one of his main support picks, obviously also fits the whole disengage teamfight style from Elements, which we know they like to pick. They first picked it yesterday against Fnatic, by the way, so smart enough ban. We know Hylissang prefers to play Thresh or Leona at the same time.
Wow. Taken away.
Yeah, one of their flex picks for Unicorns of Love.
One of their many. I'm pretty sure the entire champion selection is their flex picks.
Very true, and really also one of their main champions of Power of Evil. I wonder if Syndra is going to be a ban from Elements. Yesterday they banned 3 assassins against Fepibet. Now obviously facing Power of Evil, the same kind of mid laner here. Different kind of bans, but if they want to take away the Syndra, it will leave up a lot of the really strong picks. Rek'Sai being taken away, Gnar again would be open. We know Vizicsacsi likes to play it, played it yesterday. Actually into Cassiopeia, who's now been banned away by Elements.
Yeah, the Aurelia ban from Wicked too. Actually, a lot of people have just been saying, you know, we don't even need to. We know exactly how it's going to deal, but Unicorn's not taking that chance here. And they also ban away Lee Sin. So a lot of focus there, actually, on key pickups from Elements. Not so much necessarily the more meta stuff.
Banning LeBlanc, so Syndra is left open for Power of Evil if he wants to try and play it again. Not a first pick.
I mean, this still is kind of his, risky. If it's open, he's definitely going to play it. But, you know, Unicorns, they want to take a little bit more of a top-tier route.
Yeah,
they're going to go for the Jarvan, it looks like.
And again, Jarvan just works so well in the jungle. You ban away Lee Sin yourself against Shook here, opening up for the Jarvan first pick. For Vizicsacsi, oh sorry, for Kikis. Could be a flex pick, but I'm expecting Kikis to play just like yesterday.
As far as the Syndra goes too, I think it's pretty safe to leave it till a later rotation because Froggen's not really a Syndra player. Yeah. Not at all.
They can wait till at least the last rotation from Unicorns of Love to see if Elements has picked their mid laner, but typically Elements like to save the last pick for Froggen in this mid lane here. Give him the chance to actually counter pick or see if one of his long-range mages like a Xerath can fit in the comp and also do well against whatever the opponent has been picking.
Taking their time here on the picks.
Should be Gnar.
Ooh, yeah, this would make a lot of sense. It's top tier.
They have to take it away because you want to avoid this Gnar-Jarvan combo, which we have seen a lot yesterday, and we know Vizicsacsi plays a great Gnar here, so Elements kind of forced into it. Let's see what Wicked can do on a Gnar again. Wicked is typically not the guy we associate with too many new picks, but a Gnar is something everyone should be able to play. And wow, actually showing the Kassadin very, very early for the mid lane for Froggen here.
Yeah, they're just really curious because, as you mentioned, they usually don't like to take their mid lane until the very end. It seems like maybe they did kind of get backed into a corner that they didn't really want to be in with that Gnar force.
Yeah, and again, Unicorns of Love, they have a chance of going like Lissandra here. So you have an insanely strong early mid-game engage from Lissandra and Jarvan together to kind of force this Kassadin into 2 early team fights where he's not really stacked fully up on his Rod of Ages, he's not really hit his late game point. So that could be an option for Vizicsacsi in the top lane. And of course, Syndra into Kassadin is a fine matchup for Power of Evil if he wants to play it again.
They're just going to go for their bottom lane right now. Thresh picked up on top of the ever-popular Sivir from Vardags and Hylissang. They don't need to pick a mid lane right now. They know what they're going to. Exactly. And there's no reason Elements would take it away.
And again, getting this Sivir here, like yesterday, really allows Unicorns of Love to snowball that early lead they can get, because you can just force so many teamfights, and there's no chance for Elements to shred up disengage when Sivir pops her ulti, speeds up a Jarvan who then jumps in with the Cataclysm here. And at the same time, you don't actually show too much. Sivir, while she fits really well in these teamfight comps, she actually works fairly well just as a passive wave clear. She can also work decent enough as a tower pusher because of her spell shield. Sadly though, has very, very short range, which is a problem. So she needs some disengage with her if they want to go for that route, which I'm not expecting from Unicorns of Love. They would have probably gone for a different AD carry then.
Yeah, well, they also tend to have one direction when they go, it's in. And on the other side, Elements looking to play something a little bit different. Locking in the Graves, and yeah, I don't think we're going to see an Whoa, never mind, okay. I mean, is that a jungle Aatrox?
We are in Europe.
That's true. I'm still getting used to it.
We have a lot of Aatrox here. I do wonder if we're going to be... I mean, it must be a jungle Aatrox coming in from Shook here. I haven't seen that in forever.
Unless they send Gnar in the jungle, that'd be really strange.
Since back in Season 3, where Aatrox was one of these very aggressive early junglers who had great ganking with his jump and obviously high amount of damage in the early game, and he could just really try and snowball the game. And if he didn't, he just became completely useless in like the late game team fights.
Well, and this jungle that's all about sustain should definitely not be really hard on him in the early levels, but it is really risky, I agree. And now, well, okay, Unicorns are going to lock in both the Azir and the Orianna, so we should see Power of Evil on Orianna and get to see another top lane Azir today.
Okay, so Unicorns of Love actually go a little bit towards the Siege style where now you have Orianna, Azir, and Sivir together. A lot of range coming in, the long-range poke from Azir, and decent amount of disengage with the Thresh. Obviously Azir himself and Orianna to help out with the ulti from VODS here on Sivir. So very, very strong 5 versus 5 team fight from the Unicorns of Love. And Azir can do just fine in a one-on-one against a Gnar here. Unless Shook decides to really try and camp him early on this Aatrox, because he's going to have to try and make some plays to make this Aatrox really work.
Yeah, on the other hand, Power of Evil, a little bit surprising they don't go for the Syndra, but I agree with you, this is definitely more siege-oriented, a bit safer because they'll have some disengage and a way to make some counter-engagements. And also, Orianna's been a pretty big champion for him too.
Yeah, it has, but Orianna, I mean, she's always the same. She doesn't have much impact in the early game. She just wants to sit back and farm here. She's fairly weak in terms of like 2v2 skirmishes around the mid lane because you can flash out of her shockwave here. She doesn't really have much follow-up damage. But going into late game, if Elements wants to play the passive style, Unicorns of Love is gonna scale to late game and be so strong in the 5 versus 5 teamfights here where Elements won't be able to fight them. With Blitzcrank being locked in for Nif, a little bit of a new support, but you have the Graves, hook one in, you have the burst for it.
Yeah, it's a good combo if you can land it. A lot of hooks in that bot lane.
A lot of pick potential from Elements here on their side, but they won't be able to go straight toe-to-toe with Unicorns of Love, so they have to land the hooks from Nif here, and Shook has to make some plays early on this Aatrox, otherwise the Jarvan is going to completely outscale him going into the late game.
Yeah, and this is something that Elements did struggle with in their first game, trying to overcome some relentless early game aggression. Unicorns are known for this style. They've made their name doing it so far. We'll see the coaches contemplating what the total picks are right now. This is an interesting composition from either side.
While there's some new picks from Elements here, we don't really know what to expect from Nif on Blitzcrank, and of course the Aatrox from Shook here. I kind of like how they change up the style at least a little bit and go for a bit more early aggression and not just sit back and like play super passive, wait for late game, because that's Unicorns of Love comp, which is going to basically outscale them in this situation. So if Alliance here can make the plays early on, create these picks here, get Froggen going on this Kassadin as well, they might actually be able to punish a fairly slow scaling Unicorns of Love come with the Orianna and Azir. Yeah,
a little bit of a switch around there. We'll see how it works for them. But with the picks and bans all locked in, it's time for us to chime in and let us know who you think is going to come out on top. Tweet at LOL Esports using the hashtag UOL win or EL win, and we'll add it up very shortly.
So let's see what we get here. Last game of week 1 of the LCS. We have had some great games. There's been a lot of action going on.
Marching out the gates. And you know what's crazy? Both teams have 4 dragons to start the game.
Yeah, that's impressive.
That's new.
Not a bad start for both of them.
Surprised they were able to do that in about 30 seconds.
All right, so when you have Blitzcrank, you have one of the best level 1s as long as you can actually get the engage here. So Elements straight up out of the gates into the enemy jungle.
No surprises here.
Gonna place a few deep wards to try and spot if Unicorns of Love are sending around the dual lane towards the top side. Because Nif on this Blitzcrank here against a Sivir and a Thresh lane, might actually see Elements try the lane swap and just have Nif roaming around on Blitzcrank, get the level 2 in the lane, then start roaming and create picks together with Shook very early on.
But they're definitely going to take their time about it, waiting for the right moment. So just the deep wards in, and they back right on out. I wouldn't be surprised if they try round 2 or go down to the bottom lane, but it looks like at this point they think that the window is closed.
Well, they've used all the wards here, so they got all the information they need. They can see if Hylissang and VODS decides to recall and walk towards this top lane, which is also why we see both Reckless and Nif staying around up here. And Hylissang and VODS say, fair enough, we take the lane swap. Now they just really have to watch out for Nif on this Blitzcrank when he gets to roam around.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how safe as well, even in lane, Vizicachi is going to be on that Azir. If he gets pulled in, it's going to be very difficult for him to stay alive. Here we go, round number 2. Elements coming in, eyeballing the Gromp, and yeah, potentially the blue buff there. Shook's going to get some help from Nif and Wicked.
Very standard in the lane swaps here, especially when you know it's going to be a 2v1 on the top side. You invade on the enemy blue buff from Elements here, so you make sure you at least get 2 buffs for your own jungler and not get 3 buffs. by the enemy team. So a very standard invade, nothing special yet. Kikis actually started on his own red buff, and I remember him doing this at IM San Jose, but that was in a standard situation where he then walked straight into the enemy blue buff and actually found the Evelynn and just killed him straight away. But because it is a lane swap, Shuki's gonna stay on the top side of the map.
Wicked's just trying to find a little bit of boomerang action, and Vizzy's not giving it to him, but they'll force both of them to back away to start this one off. Free push for Vardags and Hylissang, though.
Yeah, so this means Wicked should just TP down here as fast as possible to pick up all this farm on his now, but he decides to actually save his teleport. Doesn't want the farm here. Again, actually, never mind my statement before. With Kikis being on the bottom side, he didn't actually know if he was waiting in the bush and would just have dived or dove him instantly. So actually, smart decision by Wicked. A little bit too early here with the teleports.
He is missing out on the farm, though, and that's not going to be extremely helpful. But Vizichachi's not gotten anything either. He's really being pushed back here by Reckless and Nif.
Yeah, staying still 2v1. We know how good Azir is if he gets to just have the one-on-one with the AD carry. Which is also one of the reasons for Nif staying in the lane, making sure Reckless gets a slight XP lead before leaving him all alone. And Wicked now has returned to the bottom lane, placed the ward on the Grump to make sure to see, okay, Grump is still alive. So I assume now that Kikis is gone from this side of the jungle and I can actually move in and get some farm.
Quite a lot of information you can get from seeing one frog.
It is. Did you know it's actually a fungus?
Oh.
It's a toad getting a fungus that then goes insane. It happens in real life as well.
I'm going to take your word on it.
Trust me. I watched it.
Ah.
Don't remember where.
Maybe in this game. Reckless looking for Hylissang. A little bit of damage with the buckshot. It's just going to be a little touch and go here, but there's a lot of catch potential now that Hylissang's kind of hanging out up there and giving a little bit of support to Vizichachi. Ooh, hook is going to whiz by his ear.
Really putting a lot of focus on trying to deny Vizichachi here on Azir so he doesn't get that easy lane swap situation. So no roam yet from Nif. He's going to need Shuk to join him anyway. It's not like Kassadin applies a lot of pressure pre-level 6.
Neither does Orianna.
So very true in terms of like a skirmish. And Shuk looking for his very first gang. Alliance are completely controlling the top side of the map here. And that's also why Power of Evil, wisely enough, is staying a little bit towards the bottom side of the map, at least it was beforehand, knowing there was a high chance of the Aatrox coming in for a gang on the top side.
Yeah, the lines have kind of been drawn here, but Unicorns are perfectly happy to play this one out passive, which is pretty contrary to their usual MO, but this composition really works well the later the game goes on, and if they let elements kind of fall back into their old ways, then that'll be good for them.
Yeah, I mean, if you do go late game, Unicorns will love with their strong team fight. Wouldn't mind it too much. Let's see, Kikis trying for a gang on Wicked here. Not a lot of setup from Vardags. Wicked is pretty far ahead if they can just deny him some of the farm.
He's going to go Meganar, though. This is kind of hard to deal with. Vardag's actually a little bit low on HP. Here comes Kikis. He's going to hop right on top of him. A little bit low, not quite transforming just yet. Oh, this could be something. No, Meganar really low, flashing forward. And that's a first blood, but wait, we might have an answer. Power of Evil will flash out of danger, but Unicorns of Love pick that first kill up. Meanwhile, up in the top side, Hylissang caught up by Reckless and Nif. Gonna burn his flash hook. Gonna go right through the middle of him and Vizichachi. And an Ignite is burned and nothing else.
Nice little juke here, mind games in the top lane. Nif delaying his own hook, waiting for the flash, and then Hylissang instantly just juking to the side here. But Wicked giving up the first blood to Vardags. The boomerang just managed to hit him in the very end so they could flash and finish him off while he was staying very far up in the lane. So nice little gank by Kikis.
It's a boomerang battle in the bot lane.
It is, actually.
So far, Vardag seems better, but Wicked is up on farm.
Yeah, and keep in mind at least the Wicked situation. When you're playing Gnar and Azir, both of them are great in these lanes. We'll keep talking about how the long range farm they can do. They're both having a bit of a hard start though. Vizichachi being zoned away and Wicked of course dying here early on and losing actually a lot of farm from the first wave which was pushed in.
Power of Evil had an extremely clutch ward right there to know exactly when Shook and Nif were coming for him, and as a result he stays perfectly safe. Froggen actually eats a large amount of damage with the command attack and dissonance, and despite him trying to push in at level 6 here, Power of Evil's coming out far better.
Well, the thing is, he just wanted to push the wave into the tower so he could actually go back and recall. He wasn't really looking for potential trade on this Kassadin, but he's been doing a fairly decent job farming. Kassadin Orianna, it's a pure farm matchup. You can't really deny each other much of the farm here, and you won't really look for these early fights either on those two.
Shook's made a couple of visits there, but he's not really able to do a lot. Didn't go for the...
Nif and Reckless.
Uh-oh.
Hillesang has no flash, remember.
This Chachi's a little bit lower too. Hillesang though is the one out of position. Here we go. Nif rolling forward, looking for a hook. Does not connect. Either one, actually. A little bit of a hesitation by Nif.
Well, a bit of just kind of all-in hook here. Fairly easy for Hillesang to juke around it. And now he starts roaming, at least getting a ward on this blue buff. Belong to Elements so far, again, the top side of the map in this lane swap. Obviously, two teams just swapping around on the side here, and also why Power of Evil has been keeping his wards beforehand on the top. You talk about that port ward before to spot out the invade from Nif and Shook.
So, speaking of Shook, the Rangers Trailblazer, definitely good for clearing a little bit more, but doesn't this kind of gimp his ganking? Well, not necessarily the blue stealing, but doesn't really help his gank ability as much.
The thing is, he already has a slow, he already has a jump in to knock up a target, so he has plenty of CC on this Aatrox. I think it's more about him just kind of power farming up, trying to become as tanky as he possibly can, because that's going to be his job late game. He's just going to be a tank who has to die twice, maybe even 3 times with a Guardian Angel. So he's also going for the Juggernaut as his jungle enchant here. So not going for the early power on Aatrox, just kind of trying to rely on the kit he has.
He has been going for Power of Evil, but that guy just knows what's up all around him. Serious 360-degree sight.
Has been standing back at his tower as well, being very safe with Kikis backing him up every time. Pingwall being cleared out by Unicorns of Love.
And Hillesang on the roam with Kikis now. Froggen's going to see this one. And actually, Nif pushing forward a little bit. It's very touch and go here for both these teams. No one really wants to commit to anything.
Looks like we're going to get a more Realnomicon on Power of Evil here. Typically, you see Athenes on Orianna. But in this situation, again, I mean, against an Aatrox who gets quite a lot of lifesteal, makes a lot of sense. And oh, onto Froggen here.
Yep, ooh, gonna flash. The Shockwave. Definitely worth, but and Summoner for...
Whoa,
oh, wait a minute, Kikis jumping in, but he gets himself killed by Shook. Answering back, and they hook in Hillesang. And they're leaving in for this one. This is gonna be 2. Absolutely, he's taking a little while to die, but massive misplay from Unicorn.
Yeah, Kikis just walking into a bush here with a ping ward. He had no vision, had no idea what's going on here. Ends up dying together with Hillesang being hooked in. A Dragon now for Elements here, and that's what they need, this early kills for them here to make sure Unicorns of Love can just sit back and farm all the way to late game.
Yeah, Unicorns of Love really playing that strangely there, and they weren't apparently in sync, so one mistake Elements capitalizes on that they grabbed 2 kills and the first dragon.
Yeah, it's a bit of sloppy play by Kikis, walking straight in towards the bush here, knowing Froggen was sitting there and possibly more. Start by Elements, now catching up in gold. Again, the all-important first dragon, 6% AD and AP for them. And Froggen, again, he's just happily farming on his castle, and he's going to get his Rod of Ages fairly soon. Start stacking that one up early. He's on 1,500 gold at the moment. And of course, Shook just building full tank on this Aatrox. It's going to be the frontline man together with Wicked. Which might actually be a problem for Elements going late, because... Well, another problem going late because the
they definitely have some late game problems if this does go out a while.
Again, the lack of damage coming in. I mean, you won't get a lot from Shook, and it's going to be all about Reckless and Froggen then to really take down these targets, because Wicked will be building full tank, just adding in a Hex String against this double AP in his situation.
Kikis now, waiting in the far brush, but Wicked is having none of this. He smells something's up.
This is actually one of the times I quite like Hex String on Nor, because you are one-on-one against an Azir who can pressure you a lot in the laning phase, so it allows you to really stay there and actually trade a little bit if they really magic resist, and then obviously just go full tank from here on and out from Wicked.
Yeah, Vizzy is still able to poke down Wicked a little bit here, and there we go. Kikis out of the blue, out of nowhere. Big Gnar against the wall, and he's actually going to hop out of the Cataclysm, but it won't be enough. Kikis smites him down.
Getting baited here. Kikis getting some revenge on Elements as well. Chachi just playing very aggressive. Had a pink ward and, of course, his jungler there. And Wicked, a guy with that much experience, normally doesn't get caught out by the enemy jungler here, but
I
baited.
think he thought it was safe.
And
It had been a long time. That was a lot of patience from Kikis.
It was, for sure. 2 kills now. Wicked actually using teleport as well back here because Dragon is already dead, so no reason for him to save it.
Yeah, well, look at that win. Yeah, the Unicorns of Love have established quite their own massive fan base. 75% over Elements right now.
Let's see here. Rod of Ages now for Froggen. He's going to get that fully stacked very early on. Shook and Nef running together. One of the things you can do on a Blitzcrank is you can use very aggressive invades into the enemy jungle. As long as you have some backup with you, land that one hook, single out a target, get some deep wards in.
If they can keep getting picks like that, that'll certainly get them into a decent mid game. But Unicorns are playing very, very safely here. Ooh, Shockwave on Nif. Very, very low right now. And Power of Evil, with the help of Kikis, picks him up. It's going to prompt Froggen and crew to run away. Meanwhile, Tower going down on the bot side.
So second time Kikis is ready here for the gang from Element, sending both Shook and Nif towards the mid lane. Instant Shock Blast, Shock Wave from Power of Evil. Shock Blast
It was
would be
pretty
from
shocking.
Jace. Would be pretty cool if it was a Shock Blast.
Vardags and Hylissang pushing that tower in now. Fairly even in farm in that bot lane, but it's going to free up Reckless to have a little bit more of an easier farm up for a while. But that's not really what you want on Graves right now. You want to be blowing people up as soon as you possibly can. And he really hasn't had much of an opportunity to do that.
He wants to get his Infinity Edge here. We could see Elements try and have Reckless run with the rest of the team to create some picks. But he's an AD carry who really enjoys sitting in the side lanes and farming, and then only joining when he really needs to for a potential team fight, which is something Unicorns can try and punish if Elements is now split up on the map and trying one of these aggressive invades once again, knowing they don't have the AD carry, they don't have a TP on Wicked, so it's only going to be 3 members from Elements.
Yeah, Unicorns really are ready for these map movements, and they're not particularly weak right now in this, kind of the end of the early game, really, we could call it. But they have made a couple of mistakes. Elements have punished that just a little bit here, and they have a dragon lead because of it, but it's still very, very slight. It's going to be a while before that's available again. Hylissang clearing out this pink now. Froggen kind of debating if he wants to jump in on him, and he will. That's a huge level disadvantage for Hylissang, though. It was 4, it just became 3.
Pink ward.
Yeah, he leaves it alive and takes down the green. So Froggen keeping his territory his.
Nif once again. Roaming around here, but Kikis and Hylissang around his mid lane.
Just going far forward. There we go. He's going to flash a hook back in. Kikis, they're going to find him, and no! Power of Evil whiffs the shockwave. Froggen picking up Kikis. Nif will go down. Power of Evil getting that one. They take Shook to his blood well, but there we go. Reckless jumping on in. A massive collateral damage to pick off Hylissang, but a double kill for Power of Evil. Really back and forth fight here. Vardags looking for more. Baits out the heel. Froggen jumps in. Vizichachi very low. Froggen also as well. Cannot sustain this, and he has to back away. A 2 for 2, all said and done.
So again, Unicorns of Love, they knew Wicked was stuck in the top side with his teleport. They could see Reckless on the bottom side, so they took the fight. But Power of Evil completely missing the shockwave here. Probably thought he'd put it on the head.
Uh-oh, Vardags, he knew something was up. Froggen has to get the hell out of Dodge.
Stays alive in the end. Train, was it a 2 for 2?
Riftwalk's a useful spell.
It is. It is very hard to lock down a Castellan still, and 2 kills now for Froggen on this one. Still a little bit surprised about the Orianna pick, seeing as you won't really be able to apply any pressure on the Castellan, but Power of Evil has picked up 3 kills for himself, and could have been more if it wasn't for that last shockwave.
Yeah, I think he was trying to get the...
He's trying to throw the ball over
and
Kikis,
then at this point, Kikis was already dead.
Yeah, exactly. Let's
take a look at it again
here. So Nif, again, this is Unicorns Love knowing that there can only be 3 guys from Elements.
Oh, he pulled out of range.
He's simply out of range here, being pulled in. Power of Evil thinks the ball is on him, pops it, Shockwave completely missed, Teleport joins in, and now Reckless comes in here, finish off at least 1 more kill for himself.
And that's really key too, because the Shockwave is such a massive determinant of these fights, and he still went 2 for 2. Unicorns are really, really scary in these fights right now.
Keep in mind, though, there was a teleport coming in.
There's another teleport right now.
Wow,
Kikis getting pulled to safety. Wicked jumping on forward, looking for Kikis. They just need 1 hit. Cataclysm. Shook is going to take him out, and they are going to grab Power of Evil as well. Shutdown gold going over to Reckless.
Yeah, the Unicorns, they shouldn't be fighting right now, especially not with Vizichachi sitting in the top lane. So both teams now have these engages here where the top laner from one side is able to join. The other one is stuck in the lane. So now in favor of Elements, I mean, the 2 for 2 before, that was again 5 versus 4 for Unicorns of Love here, so not really worth it. And Elements getting the 2 dragons, getting a lot of kills early on as well for some very important members, both Reckless and Froggen. They are the 2 damage dealers.
Yeah, all the same though. The longer this game goes, we've mentioned Unicorns have a pretty strong later game power spike. Elements not too terrible either, but it does seem that the dragon advantage is what's going to start tipping this if they can force the fights that they want. That time they clearly got exactly what they wanted, and Unicorns were off guard.
Yeah. Elements' problem late game comes basically from just 2 damage sources. And Cassidy typically is a carry who wants to follow up not be the guy to go in and directly burst down in this team, but he wants to be the guy cleaning up the fights. Obviously, that's where the burst from a Graves really becomes very helpful. But again, it's going to be all about the picks from Elements here with the Blitzcrank. Decent so far from Nif.
Yeah, really
Been
has
caught out a
worked
few
quite well
times,
from-
but has also started quite a lot.
Well, they're setting up a pretty good amount of catch and chase, and that's really what Elements wants to do here. But Unicorn's trying to stick together tight in this mid. Hook does not connect. Still saying they start eyeballing that mid lane, but they've not got the minions to push into it just yet, and they'll back out for just a moment.
So what Unicorns can do at the moment is simply punish Elements for the lack of instant wave clear. They only have the Graves to kind of sit here. Froggen won't be able to do too much, and then you use your double Morello Nomicon spike from Azir and Orianna to start sieging up on this tower. But they have to be careful. There's no walls on the flank, and Shook is sitting ready.
He's softened them up here. They are going to take this down, but Nif was waiting in the wings, and everyone from Unicorns will back away. No stragglers there.
Just a nice little move. Tasteful for what's going to happen later in the game as well.
They've knocked down all the outer turrets here, so in theory they have a bit more map control, but Elements is holding the middle right now, and the Dragon, the 2-dragon advantage that Elements has is definitely going to help them out here.
And Elements not wasting time in this mid lane here. They know they can't just push it down with all the wave clear from Unicorns of Love, so they push the wave and instantly go into this mid, into the jungle, clears a pink ward, takes the red buff here, try and force Unicorns of Love to really come in and face check them and get in a bad situation where Nif can land the hook as well.
And this is the Elements that we needed to see yesterday. This is a much more proactive team facing Unicorns head on. And look, they're going to look for something. He's going to go with a big Cataclysm and a hook on. Huge shockwave. And it's not going to land on everybody, though. There we go. The big Gnar finding Hilla, saying Nif is going to get the kill so far. 2 for none. Elements coming up pretty big in that fight. They don't even lose Shook.
No, not really sure why Unicorns of Love again wants to fight here. Shockwave only managed to land on Wicked, I believe, in that fight, so not been paying off just yet. And again, 2 kills for Elements. They got the red buff as well. So far, they can't complain. They're getting the kills they want. Froggen also pushing onto this bottom lane here.
Yeah, that looked better for a second for Unicorns with Kikis going in there, but you're right, it just didn't happen that way.
So the reason for the engage is because Kik is like, okay, I can get 3 or 4 guys with my Cataclysm, and then only Wicked getting pulled in by the Shockwave. Reckless left untouched. Froggen as well coming in as the caster in here, gets the cleanup, no damage onto him either. And Unicorns of Love here simply not able to get onto the carries of Element, Shook and Wicked with the Warmonks and the Juggernaut for Shook here, able to just tank all the damage and stay alive.
Yeah. And it shows how dependent on that shockwave Unicorns really are with this composition.
They just have to wait.
They need to be patient, you're right. They have so many tools to stall this game out, but they need to start grabbing a little bit more back. And Elements here, roving around, not giving them an opener.
At least get Hourglass completed on the likes of Orianna. Get to the Void Staff as well, so you can actually start dealing with these tanks, and then you need to start looking at the dragons. The problem is Elements has gotten these 2 early dragons, so we're gonna have that again. They're taking Time Bomb, flicking up towards the 5th dragon, meaning Unicorns of Love will be forced to fight around it, but at the moment, they're not picking the right ones, giving Elements a bit of a lead.
Unicorns are moving up in mass on the mid. Sundisk is down there, and they'll start to push in a little bit harder, but Elements is trying to flank around. There's no Caston just yet, so it's still a 5v4, but they don't know that.
Well, they did see Froggen at least from beforehand. Wisely enough also. That ward they're placing here just on the top of the screen to see both Shook and Wicked is very, very important. It's going to be all the engaged from Alliance unless Nif can connect on one of these hooks.
Playing a little skittish, though. They don't want to get caught in a bad fight like that for the first time. Unicorns really do seem a little bit uncertain about what they want to do.
Massive wave in the bot side, but it's going to be pushed back by the tower here once it actually gets in there and gets cleared out. So they're still staying around the line, Elements, trying to get the flank.
Froggen not going to be able to go in. Rest of his team not really in a position to follow as well. These ear turrets looking to go down pretty soon, though.
Yeah, you don't want to fight here again for Unicorns. Look at the items on Froggen. Death Cap is completed for him. Wicked is extremely tanky as well on this Gnar, so you have to wait for a few more items again. Phantom Dancer needs to be completed at least for VODS. Even getting that last Whisper is going to be so important for him. Hourglass for the likes of Power of Evil.
Has a long distance ward clear from Vizichachi. Very useful, those Sand Soldiers.
There's a few tricks you can do.
Yep. Nif and Wicked.
And another one.
Hey, I'll take 10 gold. Sure.
Look at that. Elements here actually, because the wave have been slow pushing on the top side, they timed it correctly, so they start moving there now. But Unicorns are locked instantly just reacting, pushing down the mid lane, saying, we know you're going to go top lane, we don't care, we're just going to go straight for mid lane, they should get a tower from it.
And they bite too, Elements going back in mass. Yeah, this is definitely going to be an easy tower. They've got the shred they need to do it. And really, only Reckless is hanging around on this top side. He will grab a turret in answer, so 2 inners traded. And the towers, I would say, are dead even, but there's an Azir turret in the mix somewhere.
So Visicharge here is actually recalling. He has teleport. Unicorns of Love should start this dragon, just try and burst it down and then get out of there before Elements can react in time. But they have to worry about this Baron, potentially, if Elements wants to try and rush it, but a little bit too early.
They needed that dragon, though. Really good play. They ran Elements all around a little bit and said, oh, you're going to come back and defend your base. Well, surprise, we've already started it.
They will.
Yeah, they're going to go for it. Here we go.
No wards around this one here, and because of the dragon start from Unicorns, Elements go straight for the Baron. Remember, it's a lot weaker here, 23 minutes in compared to the last patch.
They don't know what's happening either. It's already at half health right now. No movement.
So they're running to it, but it's too late. I mean, this is going to be Baron for Elements. So Unicorns are left with the push up to mid lane, taking the dragon then, and Elements instantly responding.
Sneaky, sneaky, and Elements grabs themselves a Baron at 23 and a half. And Unicorns are going to be in for a rude awakening when they see the little purple spheres dancing around.
Not exactly the best thing to happen here. There's a lot of good stats for Elements.
They grab a blue buff back.
A blue buff forward.
Still grab something where they can. But Unicorn's really unafraid to try and grab what little edges they can in this game. Reckless and Nif defending this bottom turret here.
That was a cool little setup here. Reckless shooting the smoke bomb to try and blind Unicorns of Love, so Nif could actually land and hopefully he could
cover his
nuke
escape.
But everyone decided to back away, and now simply means for Unicorns of Love once again sit back and farming. They got the all-important dragon, got the 6%, also delaying the 5th dragon potentially later on for Elements. With this Baron now, it's going to be very hard to deal with. These super minions are so strong.
Well, it's just like you said earlier on in the game, they need to hold back and wait. And if they can wait out the duration of the Baron buff and push back the siege that will commence, they can just keep on doing it, try to grab some more dragons back into this game, and hopefully take the fights. But it's very dependent on a lot of things, and one of them is Elements not taking the incentive here.
No, but this is very smart. They push in the mid lane, and now they're moving into the jungle, placing all the wards because Reckless has already built up the wave. But every single time they try and push the side lane, Unicorns just start walking up the mid lane.
They're being flanked.
Forcing some of Elements at least to go back and defend.
He's very, very low. Froggen can't push. Look at really early as Zero almost seemed a bit of a waste there now. Kikis trying to chase on, but I feel like Elements should be the one chasing this one. Kikis extremely low now. They're going to hook him right back on in, trying to escape, and he will flag and drag out of danger. But still, it is very close. Vardox extremely low. Reckless, not enough damage to pick him off. And that was just a weird chase back and forth.
Just a nice setup by Elements here, pushing the bottom lane with Reckless with the buffed up minions. And at the same time, 4 guys sitting in the jungle waiting for Unicorns of Love to make a move as soon as they try to push the mid lane.
Here comes the siege.
Froggen caught up, is charging now straight onto this tower.
Oh, they have the damage, but Kikis gonna try to push him off. No, he's getting chunked down. Can't even get his dunk on. They blow him up. Heal is saying nearly. The shockwave only hits the minions. Power of Evil just cannot connect this. And they don't have the tower, but they do have at least 1 pick. And more coming.
It force a flash. Oh, Froggen. I mean, there's 3 soldiers, mate. You don't want to jump into that.
That was a little too bold. He's going to back away and power to recall. Going to get him back to safety, but Unicorns of Love have pushed him off. And they do seem to be the crowd favorites here.
They do indeed. Now, though, again, this Baron by Elements really made it hard for him to sit back and just defend, falling pretty far behind in gold. Froggen is going to get even more farm in this case. I mean, he's had a free game so far. If you pick Orianna into it, you're not going to try and stop him in the laning phase, and then Froggen with the early kills as well from some of the fights we saw happening.
Yeah, the reaction time's pretty crazy too. If anybody but Froggen had done what he just did, we'd have a dead Kassadin.
It's a little bit too greedy, yeah.
He hasn't stayed alive for it yet. Still, him and Reckless unkilled this game. Perfect game. Dream still alive. Nif roving around, popping a couple of wards down himself.
Yeah, and they're still at the point where their tanks are so strong, and because there's no penetration on any of the carries from Unicorns of Love, the tanks can stay alive and just wait for Froggen and Reckless to get someone low and then start chasing them down and finishing them off. Unicorns, once again, sitting in this mid lane defending.
It's an unfamiliar position for the Unicorns of Love, but this really is their true test here. Elements is extremely reputable team to be dealing with, and this style is not something necessarily that they're used to. Let's see if the newcomers can really take this one to Elements. So far, they are on the back foot, defending against the continued siege of the Elements squad.
Yeah, and again, Elements won't really get anywhere with this push because of the wave clear. So again, pushing it down and then instantly waiting for the side lanes to push every single time. They start these slow pushes and just force Unicorns of Love to sit in the mid lane and defend. Wait for the side lanes to push in, then you start rotating over here. You ward up the jungle on the way, and if anyone walks in there, they're gonna be picked off, gonna die, and then suddenly you can use these minions to take a tower. So right now, they're just kind of forcing Unicorns of Love to stay as a unit and trying to basically wave clear now.
Push
two members are gone. That's the tower.
It's exactly what they're trying to do. Keep Unicorns of Love on their toes, keep them drawn out over the map, keep them away from that top lane where there's quite a lot of minions pushing in. But the Unicorns are looking to take the fight to them. They're actually moving quite quickly into this mid lane, and most of Elements have backed off already.
I would last this complete with Froggen just before Dragon is coming up. Unicorns of Love have to go in, set up a lot of water on it. Oh,
that was a close call.
Trying to get towards Reckless. We see the same thing for Unicorns of Love we saw yesterday. 2 early creative vision totems. Or at least one of them this time around, and 1 stealth totem, which just allows you to have that ward on you at all time, the pink ward and a green ward. Because this Dragon will be very important for them.
You know, if there's one point on these teams that is night and day, it's the AD carries. Reckless is almost a full item here ahead. We'll talk about that in a minute, though, because Froggen getting the jump on. He's going to get a killing spree onto that AD carry, Vardags. And that Azir turret will not keep the Unicorn safe for long.
Should be dragging out for Elements here. Froggen coming in, slowing 4 people from Unicorns of Love here. He is so strong on this Cassidy. Dragon now, 4 Elements, and again, every time Unicorns of Love try to push a bit forward, engage happens, and they're still not strong enough to fight with more time.
This is an extremely important Dragon, too, because it's going to give Elements that movement speed boost that they need to get even quicker jump on the Unicorns, who really just don't seem to know how to react to this pick composition that they're being thrown at.
Have at least been defending. Gave up 6 towers though. Some of them must have been obviously the Azir turrets.
At least one.
Yeah, at least one of them. Yeah, 5 turrets are gone from the map.
The other one hasn't self-destructed yet. Ah, there it goes.
But it's also credit to Elements here playing the side lanes really well and using those minions to force Unicorns to split up as a group or lose their towers here on the side lane. So it's just smart side wave control by Elements throughout the entire game actually.
Pace is slowed down a bit as Unicorns realize that they can't straight up engage Elements right now. The latter, though, are not letting up on the pressure, moving once again into the Unicorns jungle, picking off a couple of wards as they go.
And I like this. Instantly go in and set up for another Baron here. Place down your ping wards, get the scuttler down as well. And basically say, okay, Unicorns, if you don't move in here and try and fight us, we might just sneak the Baron again like we did last time. There's a little ward being placed just outside the Baron pit that Elements needs to clear with either a pink or obviously
exactly
the Oracle
coming
coming in from Nif here.
But this Baron is no secret right now. They have to try to bait this one if they want. Looks like they might do just that. Actually moving forward here. And 3 members of the Unicorns, 4 now with Power of Evil.
Oh, Power of Evil.
Caught a little bit farther behind. Oh, Zanya's everything. Froggen with the bait. And now this is looking horrendous for the Unicorns of Love. Froggen picks up a Rampage kill. Meanwhile, everyone else is getting blown up. Reckless coming up with a Rampage of his own. And Froggen just chasing away the rest of the Unicorns. Here we go, Emperor's Divide. That's not going to keep him out for long. But he decides to not keep pushing, and Power of Evil actually gets away, sneaking a back in the Elements jungle.
Froggen them, and onto Power of Evil. There's, of course, no magic resistance because he didn't go for their themes earlier. Wanted that Morello Nomicon to be a little bit more powerful in early to make him and get that healing reduction against the likes of Shook here. Might regret it now after you saw the damage from Froggen onto him. This Cassidy is extremely fair.
Yeah, that will be Baron.
Second Baron for
picked up, yes. Baron number 2 for Elements. They have well controlled those buffs this game, and Unicorns starting to get backed up against the wall here. 10,000 gold in the hole against this Elements team, and they really just don't look together. They try to sneak objectives, but this team of Elements is way too quick for them.
They are, and obviously punished Unicorns a lot for trying to fight early on in the game, where we had a lot of team fights going on, at least a lot of small 3v3, 2v2 fights. Now Froggen moving out towards this bottom lane. Trusted body Shook with him. Is Unicorns of Love trying to set up a trap here?
Looks like they are. There's a Chachi Hill saying in one
Everyone
brush
is
and the
down
rest
here.
in the other. Waiting for Froggen to go. Ooh, very early move by Kikis, actually. Froggen gonna get flayed in. He's gonna try to get away. Look at that damage, though. They will pick him off, but that's gonna take a while, and they spend so much. Wait a minute! He manages to get power of evil. In the meanwhile, everyone else from Element says, that's just fine. We're gonna take your middle, and I cannot believe Froggen's damage there. Element's still going. It's a base race, but I think Element's is going to win this one.
Elements are so far ahead. They can get inhibitors here. Unicorns will love knowing they can't defend it, just have to try and trade it, but they have to go back now, otherwise they're going to lose the entire game.
Yeah, they have to back. You're right.
One inhibitor.
Big super minions right now. They're going to lose one Nexus turret. They're going to lose what looks like another one. Here we go. This game is going to come down to the wire. Can they push them back? Visit Chachi. He almost gets blown up. Yes, he is. Power of Evil. He's coming right back up. But can Unicorns defend until the end of this game? The Nexus, they're focusing it down. Oh. That's going to be GG. And a sigh of relief is breathed by every member of the Elements.
Elements here changing up the playstyle and composition compared to yesterday, where it was very slow paced. Now they were the ones making the plays. We have Nif on the Blitzcrank here, roaming around Froggen, of course, on this Kassadin. The Orianna pickup for Power of Evil did not work at all. No shockwaves, made any impact, couldn't shut down Froggen at all. And I mean, just here in the end was just dying 1v5, or well, killing someone 1v5.
The shockwaves were so underwhelming. He did not make the impact he needed, and when they got behind, the Unicorns made that mistake, rookie mistake, of just trying to fight over and over again. But against this team that has come out on top, there is no victory. The Elements have prevailed.
They have indeed, and second time we see a very slow scaling comp being punished in this mid-game here. Funny enough, Unicorns of Love, who destroyed Gambit yesterday, in somewhat the same situation where Unicorns of Love had all the pressure early on and forced all the team fights like Alliance did here.
Not for lack of trying, though. They really tried to make a lot of early plays, which was to their detriment. And Elements showed a different side of themselves, not just with the win, but with being able to mix it up. And that's what everyone was expecting coming in to this spring split. They're now 1-1 on the board. They're definitely looking a lot sharper than they were yesterday. Maybe they just had to shake off the rust a little bit.
Could be, and also, I mean, Fnatic, all credit to them. They played fantastic yesterday and today as well. So clearly, at least now, Elements got a win on the board. Very important. You saw how happy they were after winning.
Incredibly important for your confidence.
You really don't want to start at 0-2. And also showing they could play more aggressive in the early to mid-game here. New pick from Shook. He's not been shy about these new picks. We saw him play Riven Jungle in the summer split, obviously. But Aatrox here, full tank, and just run in there. You die twice, and hopefully you've bought enough time now for your Kassadin and your Graves to do damage.
Yeah, the jungle Aatrox worked out quite well. Also, the Gnar pickup for Wicked, I was really pleasantly surprised by how well he was able to handle that. The lane swap as well. So glad that there's more champions in this pool than Aurelia.
I mean, everyone can play Gnar. Everyone should be able to play Gnar.
Yeah, when they left it open, Unicorns made a really big mistake there, it seemed. It wasn't the only key to their victory, but just overall, Elements really seemed like they knew what they were doing a lot more, and that's the experience factor coming into play here. So, you know, the up-and-comers, they got knocked down a couple pegs.
They did. Still for Unicorns of Love here. Obviously going to go back and look at the game and say, okay, maybe we need a bit more pressure in this mid-game instead of picking the Orianna into the Kassadin. Rest of the game for them, I mean, they're constantly on the back foot, just trying to fight. Elements were ready for it. Looks like a very standard controlled Elements game where they don't get surprised, don't get really pulled out of the comfort zone, and just slowly control it. And obviously in the very end here, the base race after 1v5 from Froggen, the king.
Absolutely. I mean, really, you can't go base race against a team that's already that far ahead on you as well. So that was it. That was GG. Now we're going to check in on stage where Quickshot is now standing by with a member of the victorious